सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुकारस्त्वन्धकारो वै ऋकारस्त्वन्निवर्तकः। अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Okay, this you can follow after me. मौन व्याख्या प्रकटित परब्रह्म तत्त्वं युवानम्। मौन व्याख्या प्रकटित परब्रह्म तत्त्वं युवानम्। वर्षिष्ठान्ते वसत् ऋषिगणैरावृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः। वर्षिष्ठान्ते वसत् ऋषिगणैरावृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः। आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपम्। आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपम्। स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे। स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे। वटविटपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषन्नं। वटविटपि भूमिभागे निषन्नं। सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमारात्। सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमारात्। त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवं। त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवं। जननमरणदुःखछेददक्षं नमामि। जननमरणदुःखछेददक्षं नमामि। चित्रं वटतरोर्मूले वृद्धा शिष्या गुरुर्युवा। चित्रं वटतरोर्मूले वृद्धा शिष्या गुरुर्युवा। गुरोस्तु मौनं व्याख्यानं शिष्यास्तु छिन्न संशयाः। गुरोस्तु मौनं व्याख्यानं शिष्यास्तु छिन्न संशयाः। निधये सर्वविद्यानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां। सर्वविद्यानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये। निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। So should we do maybe following me one more time? After that, I think we are okay, you think? So let's do following me this time. And then we'll try to do it together, and I'll see if there's some people that are not quite with the, there's some dissonance, then we will repeat it. But this hopefully will be the last time that you will do following me. So we'll do the first 5 verses. Vishwam darpana drishyamana nagari tulyam nijantargatam. Vishwam darpana drishyamana nagari tulyam nijantargatam. Pashyannatmani mayaya bahirivodbhutam yatha nidraya. पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयम् यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयम् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतम् मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतम् मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये यस्यैव स्फुरणं सदात्मकम् असत्कल्पार्थकं भासते यस्यैव स्फुरणं सदात्मकम् असत्कल्पार्थकं भासते साक्षात् तत्त्वमसीति वेदवचसा यो बोधयत्याश्रितान् यत् तत्त्वमसीति वेदवचसा यो बोधयत्याश्रितान् यत् साक्षात् करणात् भवेन्न पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्भोनिधौ यत् साक्षात् करणात् भवेन्न पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्भोनिधौ तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नानाच्छिद्रघटोदरस्थितमहादीपप्रभाभास्वरम् नानाच्छिद्रघटोदरस्थितमहादीपप्रभाभास्वरम् ज्ञानं यस्य तु चक्षुरादिकरणद्वारा बहिस्पन्दते ज्ञानं यस्य तु चक्षुरादिकरणद्वारा बहिस्पन्दते जानामीति तमेव भान्तमनुभात्येतत् समस्तं जगत् जानामीति तमेव भान्तमनुभात्येतत् समस्तं जगत् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये देहं प्राणमपीन्द्रियानपि चलां बुद्धिं च शून्यं विदुः देहं प्राणमपीन्द्रियानपि च बुद्धिं च शून्यं विदुः स्त्रीबालान्तजडोपमास्त्वहमिति भ्रान्ताभृशं वादिनः स्त्रीबालान्तजडोपमास्त्वहमिति भ्रान्ताभृशं वादिनः मायाशक्तिविलासकल्पितमहाव्यामोहसंहारिणे मायाशक्तिविलासकल्पितमहाव्यामोहसंहारिणे तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये. Kuldeep, you had ordered a book, so here, please take one from here. And Subroto, did you order a Hindi book or you? No, you okay?
Can I take it later because I think I found
You found another one?
Yeah, I'll confirm.
Okay, fine. No problem. Anyone else that can read Hindi and would like to take it? I do have a couple of extra ones, so sure. Okay. So last week we were finishing up the. Well, before I start on that, I just had a quick question for you. Do you know what the name given by Swami Maheshanandji on this first verse is? Does anybody remember that? The first verse, yeah. Atma Pratyak Swarupa. I think I gave you a list. You may not have written it down. Atma Pratyak Swarupa. So this is what we need to keep in mind. That what is the main thing? There is, of course, many things that these verses bring out and highlight and so on. But there is one main focus that each of the verses is providing. So the first verse, in my view, really is almost like the most important one. Is really most of the Vidya, as we will study, will be in the first 2 or 3. And the rest of them will be commentaries on them, questions and so on and so forth. But the first couple of them will really provide the main knowledge. And the Atma Pratyak Swarupatvam is one of the main things to really to grasp and to see. So Atma Pratyak Swarupa means there's a lot of things that we will comment on it and so on. And this is something important for us to focus on. The Pratyak Swarupa means something which is never manifest. And the sooner we understand that, grapple with it, the better off we'll be. So the Atma cannot manifest itself. It manifests itself as Anatma. As Atma, it cannot manifest itself. And I get lost because I keep on searching for myself in the manifestations. Manifestations means my body, my mind, my speech, my reactions, all the gunas that guna guneshu vartante, as the Gita says. So all the various reflections, manifestations. This is where I get lost. And I'm never going to find myself. It's not as find myself means that I can never really have an accurate picture of who I am until I really grapple with this. That I cannot I can never be even if I want to, I cannot manifest. This is what is called Pratyak Swarupam. The inner, Parak means far and Pratyak means near or inner. So outer and inner. So these are English words, but we have to interpret it properly. Inner. Here, for example, Swami Dayanand used to say that there is nothing inner in you. You are the innermost. It's not as though I have to look behind me to see. There's nothing supporting me. I am supporting myself. So the Pratyak Swarupatvam means really the fact, the me that cannot manifest itself. In fact, it is no rupa. It has no form. We'll see all of that. But this is the main thing that the first verse, Vishwam Darpana Dushyamana Nagari, will unfold. And this is what I have to really focus on. Um, and so, it has so many implications, really. So, for example, if you feel upset, then you should remind yourself that you cannot be it is not possible for you to be upset, but you are taking on a reflection of being upset onto yourself. It's like you're looking at yourself in the mirror and someone is painting over you funny colors and so on, and you get very upset. Maybe if it's your personal mirror and the paint doesn't come off, maybe you do have a right to get upset. But if you're standing outside, or if somebody stands in front of you and blocks your reflection in the mirror, there's no reason to be upset. You are what you are. But because supposing you are just looking at the mirror and you are just trying to fix up your hair or something like this, and somebody comes in, how upset should you be? What did you do to my reflection? You completely blocked it, you spoiled it. So very similar to that is your being upset, because really the mind is nothing but your own reflection. And so you should just, if your pratyak swarupatvam is understood and becomes a habit of yours, then you can, even if your mind gets upset, you won't be upset. You'll say, oh, this is just funny thing. And so the pratyak swarupatvam is a very important aspect of of looking at myself. So what is my nature? That is what the first verse is saying. And so also we will repeat this name for each, a kind of a moniker for each of the verses where we do that. But since we are starting the first verse, you should be very clear that the first verse, as being given by Swami Maheshananji, is Atma Pratyak Swarupaha. Similarly, the second one will be Atma Jagataha Karanam. We will see that separately, but right now, Atma Pratyak Swarupam. That should be kept in mind as the goal for yourself. So, that being the case, Sureshwaracharya ji has given us in the Manasa Ullasa the adhikaris, a proper adhikaris, questions that should be asked. Proper adhikari means one who's qualified. And I was just thinking about it. I'm sure all of us have gone to college. I'm almost like certain about that. And some of us might have gone to graduate schools also. And the pace of the graduate school is much faster. I remember when I went to Berkeley, I recall this so well. In the class, we would start, everybody is the same, and so on and so forth. But pretty soon, from the teaching, somebody would be taught, and some bright person will ask some questions. And some of the time I could understand the questions. Oftentimes I did not even understand the question. And the dialogue that occurs between the teacher and the student was lost on me. This is how advanced they were compared to me, because I had really not become a good student yet. I was still grappling with the beginning of the courses and so on. It might have been your experience also. So similarly here also, so this is like a question, Asti prakashate iti vyavaharaha pravartate, number 4 of the first verse. Tatcha astitvam prakashatvam kasmin arthe pratishtitam kim teshu vak artheshu kim va sarvatmani ishvare, etc. are questions from a bright person in the class. And we didn't think about these questions. And the funny part is, even after the question is asked, we are wondering, why is he asking that question? What has that got to do with it? And so similarly, in the case of Bhagavad Gita also, the questions of Arjuna are a very bright version of you, because he's been given a catastrophe in his mind. He's really confused and he is shaking and so on, because it has shaken him to the core. What is happening in life? What am I doing? What am I supposed to do? What's the purpose? And so the whole Bhagavad Gita is nothing but a series of very bright questions. And really what we should do is to just sit back and appreciate the questions. And from the questions, I remember when I went to graduate school at Berkeley, and pretty soon you could tell these 2 or 3 people were just so bright. I had my head handed over to me. I remember this so well. So when I came from India, most of our classmates were male. They were not female. And so I'm not really used to having female classmates. And if I did, they were not the brightest ones for whatever reason, so on. So I enrolled in a, what was it? No, it was a math class at Berkeley. So I enrolled in a math class, and when I first went there, 2/3 of them were women. I said, wow, I should be able to do very well in this class. My first midterm, I got a C. And I think I barely got a B. It was probably a B minus. These women were so bright. It took me, my bias. First of all, if somebody asks a question, they were really above my head, but I would say, no, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She cannot be that bright. But she was much brighter than I could even imagine. And I don't know who got A's and so on, but I didn't do very well in that course. And I got my head handed over to me. And so that was part of the education process and so on. Then I got a little more serious and so on and so forth. Somehow I got a 3.5 from it, partially because I was threatened that if I didn't get a 3.5, I will lose my teaching assistantship, which is $250 a month. And my father had told me, listen, I am not supporting you. He didn't agree to my coming here anyway. He was against it. So he says, I'll pay for your airfare, but after that, you're on your own. And so I would have had to beg if I didn't get $250. So I studied extra hard, and somehow or the other I made it. Anyway, so the questions that are given to us are really for our benefit. And we should really see, why is he asking these questions? Because sooner or later, I should be asking them. Because that's how we have to make progress. Vedanta is just means the right thinking. When we confront our life, our experiences, the data that is given to us, we need to analyze it properly. If we do that, we are done. When we have a mastery over it. The problem is it just inundates us. And we react to it without properly putting it in perspective as to what it means. That means we don't know how to derive it. Remember that Swami Maheshananji had given a beautiful thing. He said, answers are given to you. The question is, how are you going to derive it? Because if you don't know how to derive it, then the answers don't make any sense. Tattvamasi is the answer. It's not as though, okay, what is the answer? We can never figure out what the answer is. Never. So you cannot, Vedanta doesn't say, okay, find out what the goal of life is. And find out where, hey, that's the problem, I don't know where it is, you tell me. So Vedanta says, okay, all right, are you listening to me? He says, you and Paramatma, Jivatma and Paramatma are essentially one and the same. This is the answer. But I don't get it. I don't know how to derive it. Because whenever I have some experiences in life, which is all the time and generally not good, then this equation doesn't make any sense. And I just abandon it, don't know how to deal with it, don't know how to put it properly, and so on. So the study of Vedanta really means that I improve my way of thinking, approaching life, and ask the right questions with the help of and in fact, so even in the ordinary arithmetic, the teachers don't leave the children completely on their own. They'll say, listen, the children can say, well, I think I can solve this very easy one, like 2 times 3 plus 2 is equal to 8. This I can figure out, but when you give me something, I don't know how to do it, I don't know what the formula is, I don't know how to think. So the teacher has to say, here's how you think. And I may grapple with it for a while, until then I become an expert in solving arithmetic problems. So similarly here also. So the Vedanta doesn't say that this is the answer, you figure it out. And it doesn't say that. It says, here's how you have to figure it out. Please follow that. Grow and become more mature. Ask these right questions. And then if you do that, then when you are confronted with some situations, instead of being frustrated, there will be an inner smile, and you say, yes, that's what Shastra said, this is what's going to happen. Yep, this is what it is. And then your ability to deal with it means that you are becoming a little bit more cognizant of this equation. And so really what I think you find is that in Vedanta, the answer given is that your nature is complete independence, complete love, complete peace in your mind. And so in order for me to understand it, I need to become partially independent. The same things that bothered me before, I need to smile at them and let it go. And so that means I've solved that one situation. And I have to discover, this is what really the whole thing is all about. So as even today we will see it, that Atma is the very source of truth. Here Sureshacharya ji is going to talk about it, that for example, we should understand that all reality, satta, sat, and all knowledge really comes from me alone. Don't fight it, because just understand it rather than fight it. And so he'll give an example, a very beautiful example. He says, really look at this. When you're dreaming, it's all dark. All dark, unless you're having an afternoon nap in the middle of bright sunlight, which is possible. But most of the time we go to sleep and dream at night time when it is all dark. But you see a bright sunlight in your dream. Amazing. Amazing. You see a bright sunlight. Where does that come from? Anyway, we're going to discuss that in a minute. So, anyway, so what it means is, just going back to it, is that the more I become in tune with even the questions, the answer is very obvious, but how I derived it depends upon my way of thinking. And so the questions help us with doing that. Anyway, I think we had already done quite a bit of it. So we said asti prakashate iti vyavahara. So where we ended at the class with was the verse number 6. Janiyat tat katham jivaha kim tat jnanasya sadhanam jnanat tasya phalam kim syat ekatvam cha katham bhavet. This is where we were. So there we saw jnanat tasya phalam kim. What is the result of this knowledge? And the knowledge was Jivatmanam Paramatmanam ekatvam. The ekatvam for this knowledge. What is the result of this? And so here on the Hindi book, so I will now refer to both of them. But as far as the commentary goes, then of course I'm reading Swami Maheshananji's Hindi commentary, so my page numbers will correspond to that. So here on page 11, for those of you that have the Hindi, it says that number 10, footnote number 10, that is the result of this that I will enjoy Swargaloka, Brahmaloka, Vaikuntha, Goloka, Saket, Lokadi ki prapti hai? Or is it that I will enjoy this life? Forget about who knows what's going to happen after, excuse me, I take a new life. Or is the phalam going to be in this loka itself? Or is it that that after I finish this life, I'm just translating it as I'm reading it, then I will be free. Kind of like a Swargaloka in a way. Or is it that I have the phalam, but I do not, it's in my pocket and I don't know how to get it? And the answer is that one. Praptasya prapti. So it is not something that will come later. It is there now. And so my way of thinking, it is okay for me to say that it is in my pocket and I don't really know how to get it. So that's not that good an example, because pocket means you just put your hand in there. A better example than that, I think, is this. There was I think I've given you that example before, but it's a very beautiful example. There are a lot of examples like this. There was a boy, a young man, who was married, just had some young children, and he used to live in a farm in India. And his father was a very successful businessman, and he had made a lot of money. And then his father died and left him with a small property and some farm to take care of. And he had quite a few children, and he didn't know farming very well, and so he fell into hard times, was very despondent about it, and went on for quite a while, didn't know what to do. Should we move to a town or whatever? So one day he was talking to his father's friend, who had a shop, who was a shopkeeper, and he was lightening up his heart and saying, "Uncle, I'm in bad shape. I don't know what to do," and this, that, or the other. So his uncle said, "You do know that your father had buried quite a bit of jewels just for your use in your property. He says, no, he never talked to me about it. He says, well, he talked to me. And he said that the appropriate time, I will tell my son, because let him grow up. And then once he is mature enough, then I will tell him that this is for your use. And so be happy, you just live and so on. And then he had a kind of a heart attack, and he never had a chance to talk to his son, and he died. So his father's friend said, you know, I can tell you this, your father was a very truthful person, and he would never tell stories like that to me. And the way he told me, we were very close to each other. It's there. It is there. So what you need to do is to find out where in the property is there, this is there. And as he started digging, he became more hopeful, because there were areas that were not as hard. So they were some of the dirt was a little looser, because that was done in the last few years rather than forever. And he never lost heart. So now the story can almost end. So what this means is that it is, so I'm talking about the phalam. Talking about the phalam. So look at this. This is the way to look at it, just on that one point. So the person now has full faith, shraddha, not even faith, shraddha, that my father's buried treasure is in my own property. And it's not that big a property. It's like within the compound of the house, not the farm. And it's sort of like quarter acre or something. Even if you start digging, it might take him a year or so, but he'll find it. So he's just going to be smart about it, but he has complete shraddha that it is there. So he's no longer worried about his future now, because he has found that this is absolutely going to be the case. And his father's friend told him, you cannot believe how much your father has earned, and you would be the richest person in this whole village. So don't even worry about it. So with that, with the enthusiasm, he started doing it. So now look at it. From that perspective, look at the phalam. Is it that by the knowledge of Vedanta, I will go to Swargaloka? That will be like by his friends telling him that the property is, the jewels are in the property. He doesn't do anything except pray and hopefully in his next life he'll become a better person. No, that is stupidity. Or that he feels that he doesn't really do anything, but somehow it will appear later on in his life. No, that doesn't happen. Or he feels that I don't have the benefit of the jewels now, but I know they're there. And my attempt in my life should be to discover it and to have the shraddha that I will get it one day. So here's the thing. There is a sense of postponement. So it's not as though he's gotten the jewels right now. He hasn't gotten it. Neither does he feel that I will get it later on. Of course he'll get it later on because he's on his way to do that. But as he nears, particularly supposing, he finds that there is actually a metallic portion, and he hit that, and he still is buried in the dirt. He cannot really take it out yet, but he has hit the metal box, some kind of a huge box. Then his happiness starts to really surface. He hasn't found it yet. He hasn't used it yet. He cannot sell them. He's still in debt, still having a hard time feeding his children. But he knows that this is now within my reach. So very similarly to that is that we are told that this freedom is really yours. Complete freedom, not partial freedom or anything, complete freedom. And you need to start digging it out. And the way to dig it out is that the way you approach your life is no longer keep crying, I am dependent, I am unhappy, I am dependent, I wish people will change, why these things keep happening to me, this, that. No. Start to see nuggets of independence. Instead of somebody saying something to you that used to upset you for days, and then you will not forget it. You forget all the good things that happened to you, but all the bad things you don't forget. And you're wallowing into it and so on. You discover how easy it is to just dismiss it. And the way to dismiss that is that if somebody says something to you, it is their problem, not yours. And the more you begin to think in that direction, you become relatively more independent. And the more relatively independence you get, you find that you are okay. Your own, your joy comes from inside of you, rather than being a beggar outside. You want the whole world to be exactly right. Otherwise, it's like a temper tantrum, that everybody must behave themselves, otherwise I'm not going to be happy. Well, they're not going to behave themselves, so you better decide. So the relative independence means that you're digging. Now you're coming a little closer. You're a little closer. So this is what it says, that it's not as straightforward as putting your money, your hand into your pocket. But that's the fun part of it. This is what Ishvara's joy is, to really provide some kind of a method by which you discover him. It's just like this hide and seek, that if you are, forget about hide and seek, you have these clues these days now. I remember when my son got married, so he proposed to his wife, and they went into Napa County somewhere, and he gave her a big clue. Okay, you do this, and then you go there, and then you turn left there, and so on. And finally, at about number 8 was a ring. And then he presented to her. So these days, these kinds of things are done. So you just have to keep on looking at these clues and follow them until you find it. So, so in Phalam, this is what Maheshananji is saying, that really it is like discovering something that you already have. And I added the process to it from elsewhere. It's not my own thinking. It's all from the Shastra and so on. That yes, there is a postponement, no doubt about it, because we have to reconcile it. This is what you mean by when you solve the equation. This is what means by solving the equation. Because if a person doesn't want to solve it, he'll say, "What? This is all false. There's no freedom possible." So you have to tell him, listen, in order to get total freedom, try getting small amounts of freedom. And as you get the small amount of freedom, see the amazing thing about it. That it is you that is creating the problem for yourself. If you just let it go, you become joyful and you say, wow, I did it. And next time you could do something bigger. I often think sometimes, it's very interesting if you observe young children. Well, Shastra often says that. He says you have to really borrow some very good habits from very young kids. And I've already talked about this to you before, but anyway, you find one thing, that when the children have a temper tantrum, there is no residue. The mother might feel, my God, that was so disrespectful. She was, my daughter was really so, what is she doing? And then she starts worrying about it. That means she must be doing it with others in the class. And then it just has a lot of residue. And the children has forgotten it already. And so similarly here also, we should just keep going and forget what happens to us and so on. It's of no consequence whatsoever, because that's what shackles us. And we should just discover smaller freedoms from this. Because it is, everybody has to do it on their own. You cannot, at best what you can do is to guide them. But you cannot make people change. They have to change it on their own. Anyway, it's a long dissertation, but so this is on what is the result. What is the result means what is the result. And so here, it's interesting, you see the value of commentary on commentary on commentary. So here Swami Maheshananji expanded it in the way he thinks. What are the possibilities? Which is a realistic thing. We all have a choice. We can continue going to temples and doing some yagas and so on, which is good. But what does that do to you? How are you going to face life? So Vedanta says, please start digging now. It's there in your own property. It might take a little while. That's a different thing. Don't get impatient. It's there. So anyway, so that's the phalam. Then agyanat tasya phalam kim syat ekatvam cha katham bhavet. So the question here is that I don't understand. How can the Jivatma and the Paramatma be equated to be the same? This is the biggest question that we have. How is it possible? So there, Swami Maheshananji on page 12, number 11, talks about, is it the ekatvam, the oneness between Jivatma and Paramatma? Does it mean that it is there for sure, but I don't get it? Maybe it's that, which is what it is. Or is it that their gunas are similar? So there is some similarity between us. So there is some similarity that Paramatma also has some knowledge and some doership. I also have some knowledge, some doership. So is it because they are almost in the same jati, in the same family? Is that what you're talking about? What is the reason for this? Or is it that, and all these are real questions that occur in people's mind, or in fact this is what happens in the Vedas. The Karmakandis don't agree with the Vedantic view. They'll say because there is a very famous sutra by a person called Jaimini. Jaimini has written a sutra for the karma portion of Vedas, and it says that the main purpose of Vedas is for you to follow the vidhi. You've got to understand what the vidhi is. Vidhi means what are the rules, how do you do puja, who do you do the upasana for, etc., etc. You learn it all. You learn it all, and any sentence that doesn't have vidhiparatvam means you must do this. Now you do oblations. After that you do this. Then you do a circumambulation. Then you, so this is all vidhis in the puja. And so he says this is what the Vedas are all about, more and more complex and so on, so just learn it. And he says any sentence that does not give vidhi is useless. So we say, wait a minute, that's not true. Because there are sentences which say something, these Mahavakyas from our standpoint, Tattvamasi. It's not a vidhi. It doesn't say anything about the fact that you please now try to become Ishvara or anything. You are Ishvara. This is not a vidhi. So they say, you know what it is, and that's what this next point is. He says, oh, this is just for your utsaha. We would just want to encourage you. Just want to encourage you. These are just vakyas where, you know, like for example, you're telling a child that, hey, you better run very hard or lift up this weight or whatever the person is trying to do. And please say, lift some more. Yeah, good. Do some more exercises. Strengthen your muscles. Very good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Then you pause and say, you know what? You are like an elephant. My gosh, I'm so impressed by you. So there, the sentence, you are like an elephant, is not a vidhi. Doesn't say do some stuff or anything. It's just a praise one. So he says maybe the ekatvam is like this, that you know you're praised. Oh, you're as good as Ishvara. Keep on doing things. So is this the ekatvam that it is there? And he says no. And then all kinds of things, that how is it possible that Ishvara, who is Sarvashaktiman, Sarvagya, and so on, has become a small person like you and I. Because that's exactly what has happened. Ishvara is the one who created me. He's my creator. And he's the one who created me and then entered himself into it. This is exactly the truth about it. So you and I are nothing but a manifestation of Ishvara. And so he says, why? Because you and I have a lot of problems. And he says, why would Ishvara superimpose problems on himself? I don't get it. These are not, this is not proper. So he says, Sarvagyaha, Sarvashaktiman, Alpagyaha, Alpashaktiman, kis karan se, or kis prakar ban gaya? For what reason? And in what manner has he done it? No, not possible. So these are the questions. And the questions are not at this stage. Later on, when we go to verse number 9, 10, even earlier than that, there will be brickbats thrown. But here, this is a student asking with Shraddha, saying, you know what, I don't get it. I don't even know how to think. Can you please tell me how I should think about it? People who have hardened their opinions, like Buddhists and Islam and Christians and so on, they don't have a Shraddha, and they say, you know, I don't get it how Vedas, no. They'll say, why are you studying this useless book? Come over to us. We have exactly the right way to do that. We don't find anybody who has really gained anything from your standpoint. You are still dukhi. So they have hardened their position. That will all come later on in this book. But at this stage, these are soft, hearted people who are misguided. They don't know. So the questions are in that manner. So, Itham prichantam shishyam prati guruhu vaktum arabhate. He says, now having been asked these questions, vaktum arabhate. So here just a couple of very small things and then we'll go on to the main verse itself. So Swami Maheshananji expands on vaktum arabhate. Means that having been asked such good questions, the teacher begins to speak. And so here the direct communication is important. So he starts to he doesn't say that he tells him what books to read. He says he starts to talk to him directly. And here two things are pointed out. One is that the teacher is very pleased that the questions seem to be indicating an adhikaritva. Adhikaritva. And when you find an adhikari, you see, so there are two, from the standpoint of a guru, a teacher, there are two aparadhas, there are two papas for a guru. One is to teach Vedanta to someone who's not ready for it. And that should not be done. You should never go outside and just collect a bunch of people who don't have the right lifestyle and so on and start teaching it to them. Lots of problems will happen. You will actually confuse them. They won't get it. And it's not the right thing to do. Absolutely not. So this is one thing. The second papa is that if you do find someone, do not desist from the opportunity of teaching them. Very important. And you get as much of a papa if you get a good student and you do not pursue, you don't neglect it and say, I'm sorry, I don't have the time. You have to find enough time to teach that person. So that is being discussed in this. So with that, let us go into the very first verse itself. There is just a small diversion to ask the right questions. So now the first verse, we've already chanted that. Om Vishwam Darpana Dishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantar Gatam Pashyan Atmani Mayaya Bahihi Iva Udbhutam Tat Yatha Nidraya. Tam, it should be Tam Yatha Nidraya. Right? Is it? Because there is a misprint on this.
No, it is Tam.
Tam. Tam Yatha Nidraya. Let me put it down. Yas sakshat kurute prabodha samaye swatmanam eva advayan tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurthaye. So starting from the very back, Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam. So my namaskara to Sri Dakshinamurti, who alone appears before me in the form of my teacher. So how else is Ishvara going to come? Through this parampara, teaching parampara, very accurate teaching parampara, well understood and well communicated. So that kind of a teacher, this is how Ishvara appears. So my namaskara to Ishvara, who has kindly agreed to be the form of a live teacher in my class. So Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Sri Dakshinamurtaye. And Dakshinamurti we have already gone over quite a bit. Dakshinamurti Yasya, who's facing problems. Dakshina here means problems. That means that he is protected with Chin Mudra. And he understands the people who says, you please face me and I will protect you and I will teach you. That is the Dakshinamurti. So, Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. And so, now what the Guru does, what Dakshinamurti does, is now shown. So he says, Yaha, but let me see what I should do is, have I sent this to you? I need to do this. Let me ask, maybe I did, I forgot. Sorry. No, it's in here somewhere. Oh, it's here. What? Oh, here. So, when Swami Tattvavidananda ji had come, and so we had produced these this souvenir for him. So we had done the word-for-word translation. Have I sent this to you? I think I might have done it.
You have done it.
So there you can look at the word meaning. This is not there for the Manasa Ullasa, just for the 10 verses. But the 10 verses are simple to see. Even if you, I think I sent it to you, and I can send it to you again, if you like. I think I have it in my files. Okay, so then you can just take that and then read them. So, in doing the analysis of this verse, so I think we can finish that today. So that's probably all that we will do. Yaha nidraya iva mayaya atmani nijantar gatam. So it is rearranged from a verse to a prose form. Yaha nidraya iva. So just like the dosha of sleep. It's an interesting thing to see. So what happens is that something happens where you are completely transformed. It's really worth thinking about. You are transformed into a completely different world. Just think about it. Amazing. What a creation. You know, you're sitting in the class, you're talking and so on and so forth. This is one set of experiences and reality and so on. Or you're not going to go to sleep right here or dream. Certainly you can nap, but you won't really have time to dream or anything. Let's say that you are lying in bed, you're watching television, you're talking to your spouse or children, and you are in one set of reality. And then you are transformed into a different world altogether. Totally different. What an amazing thing. How does it happen? It happens through this thing called sleep. Sleep also is something worth really thinking about, where your whole mind and sense organs and organs of actions, everything is completely shut off. And your prana is working, your heart is working, and your lungs are working, but you don't know it. You're not doing anything to it. You cannot tell your heart, keep on pumping. Yes, yes, good, good, I'm asleep. Keep on, I'm watching you. You're not aware of it. And something transforms you. What transforms you? And it cannot transform you until you go to sleep. You cannot dream. So that's the interesting thing. You pass through a passage, and when you come out of the passage, you are in a different world altogether. Amazing. What a creation. What a creation. So here you can, Swami Maheswaranji said that this is almost like a defect of the sleep. Defect of the sleep means, why do we call it a defect? Because this transformation to sleep deprives you of a sense of reality. You cannot deal with people, you cannot think, you cannot leave, you cannot make any money, nothing. You are totally helpless into a different state altogether. So in that sense, it is kind of like a magical defect of sleep. So he says, Yaha nidraya iva, just like the defect of nidra, sleep, the very phenomena of sleep. It's a very interesting thing, how amazing it is that really my fully functioning hands and speech and all that, I am just gone completely. This is what happens. You see a person who is sleeping, their mouths are open and so on. It was interesting. Swami Viditatmananda gave this example. I think it came from Dayanandji. I remember Swami Dayanand used to say that. He says, if you go to a railway coach in India, and they're kind of like a third-class coach where you just are sitting, everybody is crowded and so on and so forth. So there is a Swami, a sadhu, sitting there next to a Maulavi and next to a Christian Padri. And they all are very, very proper. They keep, keep to themselves their clothes and so on and so forth, and they don't even look at each other, and so on. Then, due to the movement of the train, they go to sleep. And he says, it is a funny scene. So the sadhu's hand is on the lap of the Maulavi, and somebody else is like this, and they are all intertwined, And if they ever find out what they did, they would be ashamed of themselves. How did I touch this Mussalman sitting next to me, and so on and so forth? This is what sleep does. Amazing. In the same manner. So he says, Yah nidraya iva Mayaya atmani nijantargatam vishvam bahihi udbhutam. Similarly, through the phenomena of Maya, very similar to sleep. How is it similar to sleep? Because what the sleep does is to completely transform your experience. And what you do in your dream is amazing. In fact, this is interesting. Our Shastra says that many times your previous life's experiences can also be brought into focus in the dream. Never do it you can never possibly do it while you are awake. Whether you had a husband and a wife in the previous one, and so on and so forth. You cannot do that because it'll screw up your whole life. But during the dream, you see things that you have not even seen here. And they postulate that the subconscious does bring experiences from the previous life into this. Anyway, what it means is that there is a phenomena like sleep that is totally transformative. Similarly, Maya is totally transformative. It hides your own reality and makes your life look like a dream. And this crossing has to be done. If this just like the awakening of the dream, from the dream to the awakening is, similarly transformational reverse process can be possible with the Maya. And so here, and I think I'll just close, and there's a lot to be said, so I won't be able to complete it. What is said is that Ishvara's Maya Shakti is very powerful. Aghatita ghatiyasi Maya. What is impossible, it makes it possible. This is how powerful it is. And we should respect that. And respect it by having an attitude that, my goodness, I should because otherwise you can say, no, you know, how can I be completely away from it and be totally independent? It's not possible. Not possible. You don't know what Maya can do to you. Just like you see the dream and the sleep, what sleep does to you. How it just completely transforms your experiences. Completely. Nothing like that. At least there is some similarity between your waking life and dream life, because both involves transactions, thinking, getting upset. Both are very similar in that sense, although they are very different. But here this is something very funny, because to go from the ajagrata avastha to paramarthika avastha means, because it's a pratyak swarupam, there's no change whatsoever. It's completely unlike. How it is unlike, we will see in the rest of the verse. Anyway, so that's what this is meant to convey in that manner. So we will continue that next time. Om Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Yeah.
So in our Saturday class, we learned that a Prakarana Grantha deals with one aspect of the main
Correct,
text.
correct.
Dakshinamurthi Stotram is a Prakarana Grantha. Although it talks about the whole Advaita in a distilled form, so why it is called a Prakarana Grantha?
So yeah, that's a good question. So the word prakarana could mean different things. So a book that presents the vision of the Shastra in 10 verses is a kind of a prakarana. So that means that if you were to summarize the main points of the Shastra and something that you can remember and verbalize and practice and keep your focus on it. So that is a one aspect of the Shastra. So in that sense one can say, so really all the prakaranas are like that, in the sense that they encapsulate the Shastra, and in a very particular way, because these are of course the visions of great people. You and I can also make a verse that may not have as much depth as these people do, but they have the same purpose, that you just like, somebody writes a poetry, some poetry verses, and you can write a poetry about Ishvara and so on and so forth. And it'll be nice, it'll be a stotram of some kind. But it's very possible that your and mine may not be as deep in pregnant with the meanings of it as Adi Shankara's. So really any time you have a version of the Shastra for various reasons. So there in the case of Gaudapada's vision, he decided that he wants to really focus, and it's pretty much the same. It's not as though they're totally different. So there are two different ways of explaining the same thing in that way. I would think that's what a Prakarana Grantha would mean. Yeah. Yeah.
Quoted a line, can you explain more? Guna, Guneshu or something.
So in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that this is a very important thing that we will do some time. So really speaking, my life's experiences are a reflection of my mind's tendencies, and my mind's tendencies are called gunas, and the gunas of course are the sattvika guna, rajasika guna and tamasika guna, and a mixture of all those. And I am now playing with them. It's like looking at myself in the mirror at different times, at different ways, sometimes a convex mirror, sometimes a concave mirror, and so on. And so in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says that the wise, so it says, Traigunya Bhava Arjuna. You please rise yourself above the gunas. Meaning that instead of just being occupied with your reflections, see yourself as being distinct from them. That's what it is. Yeah.
I have one more question.
Sure.
You said that Atma doesn't manifest.
Yes.
So in chapter 12 of Gita, you talked about Saguna Brahma, Viguna Brahma,
Right.
Rupa, Rupa.
Yeah.
It's all manifestation of Brahman.
So the manifestation of Brahman means that Brahman, the Nirguna Brahma cannot manifest itself. So it's like, you can only look at externally at your reflection. So the case is different, because we are looking at my body, like you can touch your body, and then you can also see as you're touching it and you're looking in the mirror, so the mirror is also touching, because you are a formful jiva. So you can do that. But in the case of Brahman or the Atma, myself, even though there is a projection, there is no projection. And Atma being Nirguna, Nirakara, and cannot possibly be seen. You just say, I'd love to see myself. Yes, you can see yourself, but not as an object. You cannot see yourself as an object because the person that is seeing is the one who is looking at the object. That's why it is, Atma is not an object. This is all we mean. Atma is not an object that you can see. So the Brahman also manifests itself, and we also manifest ourselves, but in a manner which is just a reflection. You can never really, in a way, if you can look at yourself in the mirror as a reflection, and in fact I think this is a good example, you can never see your eyes. You never see your eyes. You can only see your eyes in a reflection. You can never see your eyes. You can feel it perhaps, but you cannot see it. You just can't turn around and say, I want to see myself. Not
so
possible.
in the temple we say Venkateswara, Ganesha are all manifestation of Brahman. It's the wrong statement.
No, it's not wrong statement. No. Not wrong statement. It is, this is, so that just means that really they are just nothing but so the Brahman by itself does not manifest itself, but it is capable to manifest itself as its reflection. So when you see the Venkateshwara, when you see the whole world, not just Venkateshwara in a temple, it is nothing but the reflection of Brahman. And so, but the Brahman itself cannot appear. The Nirguna Brahma cannot be seen, only Saguna Brahma can be seen. Yeah. So, but the fact of the matter is that when we examine ourselves, we only see ourselves as Saguna me, which is Jivatma. The reality of myself I don't see, and this is the problem. Because the reflection of myself hints at the fact, because you cannot have a reflection unless you have somebody standing in front of the reflection. Reflection, in fact, that is going to come very soon. That's exactly what. So Swasatta it does not have. It depends on me. It depends on me. But me, and so once I see the reflection as nothing but representing me, then I know that I am standing in front of it. So, but I cannot manifest myself. It is not possible for me to do so. Yeah. So we'll go into that in more detail. Yes, Raman?
I'm confused about who does the phalam belong to?
Who does the what belong to?
The phalam.
The phalam. So the phalam belongs to the jiva. Belongs to the jiva, because the Atma doesn't have a problem. But the jiva, the very concept, even though the Jivatma is really nothing but Atma, and I think the main example of the space and the room space is a good one. Okay, so let's say that supposing the space has consciousness in it. This is the best way to look at it. So the space has consciousness and Ananda. So it has Sat Chit and Ananda. And it is formless. Okay? And it has always been there. There's no question that it came about. No, not possible. It's always been there. And no question that it can never be. You cannot destroy space. So in that case, I think it's a good close to it. But supposing the space has some consciousness, and now suppose that there is a room. Now what will happen is that the entity called the room space can have a problem, because it does not understand that its totality is only enclosed within in this room. So it says, I'm not happy with myself, I'm very vulnerable. If there's an earthquake, then I'm gone. He said, no, 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 you're not going to be gone. Don't you understand? You cannot go. Earthquakes cannot touch you. He says, no. I think that I've got these four walls and so on and so forth. So the problem belongs not to space, but to the room space. So to the jiva in that sense, yeah.
So the only problem is I don't understand that I am Ishvara.
Quite right. Absolutely. 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 Totally true. Paramatma. So there we make a distinction. We use the word interchangeably. So Ishvara is the one has some functions and some, some purpose and so on and so forth. But the content of Ishvara being Paramatma, that I can be. I may not become Ishvara, but I can become Paramatma. And that is the real thing that I'm looking for anyway. That's what the freedom is. Okay. I think we're getting late, so let's continue on.